for the past 2 days, I have been driving and I've been listening to personal development videos nonstop. I've been listening to videos about relationships and literally just healthy behavior, toxic behavior. I've really been like delving into, personal development, self-love, healing, and starting to like unfold and like recognize like what those behaviors are, what is healthy behavior, what is toxic behavior. And the more that I watch these videos, the more that is revealed to me, the more that I'm waking up, the more that I'm starting to understand different things that I've never really understood before, and so it's literally like a whole new world for me. Granted, I've been in recovery for 2 years, and doing a lot of like self-development work in recovery. However, and it's funny because a lot of the things that, has been said repeatedly in recovery is like literally starting to finally make sense. And it's like, I've been saying these things for quite some time now, and I knew and I understood what it meant when I was saying it, because they say like people who, suffer with addiction and alcoholism, their problem is in between their 2 ears. It's the way that they think, and the more that I'm watching these videos and learning about this stuff and researching it and listening and applying it to myself, I'm realizing what that really means, that the problem's in between my 2 ears. And I've always said it, I understood it from doing, my inventory and all that. I could see where there was a lot of behavior where I was like lying to myself and being dishonest and having expectations of other people and, all this different behavior where at first my resentment seemed justified. And then later on down the line, as I'm inventorying it, I realized, of course, that I'm in the wrong. And literally all it takes is putting pen to paper to realize that. Pausing, putting pen to paper. However, the more that I'm delving into these videos and I'm researching, the more that I'm learning and the more that is really starting to make sense. And it's like, okay, so I'm messed up. And I think it's so important that I be transparent and, be honest, so healthy behavior versus toxic behavior. How in the hell is somebody supposed to know what healthy behavior is if they were never taught growing up? If there was a lot of trauma, in childhood where, acting on autopilot. I think a lot of us act on autopilot. And we don't necessarily know what healthy behavior is. We don't know what healthy boundaries is. We don't know what healthy communication is. These things weren't taught to us. Literally it's like conditioning. And so these things weren't taught to our parents, and it wasn't taught to the parents' parents, or, whatever, and down the line. And so literally it's just a matter of not knowing any better. Do I think that some people know better and choose to act, the opposite? Sure, absolutely. However, as I'm stepping into alignment with becoming more self-aware, figuring these things out, what is healthy boundaries? What is healthy communication? What is a healthy relationship? And unfortunately, I'm realizing that I am a toxic person. Very hard to admit, especially to all of you. Sucks, but I need to be transparent. I've been through a lot of trauma. And I didn't grow up in the healthiest environment. And because of that, there's been a lot of conditioning. There's a lot of behaviors based on fear that I may, on autopilot, be portraying in a sense to protect myself from pain, or literally just acting on behaviors, literally just on autopilot. And if you're not aware of what's going on, and you're not aware of what's healthy, all of these behaviors can literally come off justified. And to you, you think that it's normal. To you, you think that it's healthy. You think that it's justified. This person act this way, and so this is how I respond, and this is, what I'm
doing, and that's just who I am, and you know what I
mean? And I used to think in these ways. However, the more that I'm becoming more aware, it's no, okay, it's time to grow up. And so I've been learning about, and a lot of what I'm learning is called reparenting yourself. So as an adult, as we begin to become more self-aware, we can step into alignment of becoming our own parent and reparenting ourselves. I'm still doing a lot of research, and I have a lot of research to do on that, but it's all genuinely about coming in touch with your inner child, healing your inner child, and realizing that every single one of us has an inner child. No matter how old you are, we all deep down inside are just little children that want love, want validation, want affection, want attention. We want to feel safe. We want to feel secure. And being able to realize that we are now stepping into becoming our own parent and parenting our inner child, comforting our inner child, loving our inner child, accepting our inner child, making our inner child feel secure, and realizing that we are responsible for our inner child. We are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for our happiness. We are responsible for our behaviors. We are responsible for our choices. We are responsible for what we allow others to do, be, or say in our life, and how we choose to allow that to affect us. And so there's a lot of different behaviors that have been coming up as I'm researching this stuff, where I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a lot of work to do, a lot of healing to do. Now, I don't want to be a toxic person. I don't want to be manipulating or controlling people or acting in, toxic ways. How are you supposed to act in a healthy way if you literally don't even know that you're doing it? If you're literally on autopilot and you're just going through life hurting people unintentionally, these behaviors that's completely unintentional. It's like being out in the middle of sea on a Titanic, this ginormous ship, just aimlessly on autopilot with no direction, no idea, where you're really going, how to get there, how to run the ship, how to work the ship. That ship is going to hit an iceberg and it's going to sink fast. Literally lost. And I have felt this way for a long time. And I think that a lot of the therapy that I've went through and things that I've done, it's hard to pinpoint the behaviors, the trauma behaviors, all that, I feel like I would have really needed a therapist that specialized in the specific traumas that I've experienced, that knows what codependency is, and borderline personality disorder and narcissism and all those things. And, I just think that it's very interesting. I think that it's very interesting to start to look these things up and realize, like, I can be a very toxic person unintentionally, and that sucks. And that means that a lot of people are literally running around on autopilot, hurting each other unintentionally, with no idea what a healthy relationship is, what healthy boundaries are, what love really even means. So yeah, I aim to know better and be better and learn. I'm a student of life for life. The wonderful, beautiful thing about our day and age, our time right now, is that YouTube and Google is available to us, and we have an endless amount of opportunities. Literally, you can find anything and research anything and learn about anything online, on Google, on YouTube. And, a lot of people are going to want to use it as an excuse.
My family, my childhood growing up wasn't good, wasn't healthy. I went through this and I went through that.
And all of those points are very valid. They're valid. It's true. They literally don't know any better. They don't know why they act the way that they act. And it can be very torturesome, to be inflicting pain on other people and not understanding, why am I acting this way? Why am I, it's rough, and these things take time. It takes time to heal. It takes time to grow. It takes time to relearn these new behaviors, to dig up that garbage so you can process it and heal it, to have healthy relationships, to be in a healthy relationship with yourself, to know what that really means, to know these things and just use it as an excuse, like,
well, my family was fucked up, so I am the way that I am.
That kind of person, probably want to just love them and accept them from a distance where they're at, because that's what I'm learning, is to love and accept people where they're at without feeling the need to control or change them, which is very hard. It's something I really struggle with. However, if you know someone and they're saying, I'm sorry, I don't know why I do these things, I want to be better, I want to be different, I want to change, and they're showing that they are changing, they're putting in the work, they're putting in the effort, they're making changes in their life, these things take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, I have been a toxic person for, 28 years now. I just turned 28 in September, so I've been in recovery for 2 years. So these behaviors, it's going to take time. I'm just starting to process all this stuff, just starting to learn what healthy even really is. Well, I started to learn that when I first, got clean. But now I'm starting to delve even deeper, where I'm starting to really uncover some deep stuff and face some really deep stuff and come to realize these things and process them, and then applying them and practicing, learning to practice and study, So be patient. If you have someone that you love and they love you, whether it be a family member or a spouse or a friend or whatever it is, and it's easier to be able to forgive someone for toxic behavior if you can understand it's not personal. There's something going on within them. Maybe it may be that they haven't come to terms with something yet, or it's some pain that hasn't been healed, or some kind of poison that they have inside of them that they're reacting a certain way. Makes it a lot easier to forgive someone and accept them where they're at and love unconditionally. Maybe it is personal. Maybe they want to personally attack you. Maybe they want to make you upset, or they want to hurt you. But guess what? It's still not personal. Even if they're intentionally doing something to harm you or hurt you, it's still not personal. It's something within them that they are dealing with that they haven't come to terms with yet, or they haven't healed or accepted within themselves. So a lot of the times we're the abuser and we don't even know that we're the abuser. I think that that's one of the biggest problems that we have today, is a lot of people are, out there being the abuser, and they don't even know that they're the abuser. They don't even know what they're doing is wrong. And it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, for someone if they're out there and they're using it as an excuse, to behave in a certain way or whatever. Like, that may be very valid, that they're behaving this way because of A, B, C, D, E. However, you don't have to accept that for your own life. And, you can go on about your life and love them from a distance, and accept them and love them where they're at from a distance, without accepting it for your own personal self. And that's where, loving unconditionally and not having expectations comes into play, and like practicing like accepting things and like letting it go. A lot of the time, the people who are doing the abusing don't even realize that what they're doing is wrong. Guilty. Or what is right, what is the right behavior. It's really hard, because it's like when you experience pain, like I've experienced pain, and everybody's different, no two people are alike. Everybody's experiences are different, because they're experienced through a different point of view. Everybody's point of view is different. How someone may feel about a certain situation, whatever, and so we can't compare ourselves to other people. We can't compare our pain to other people's pain. We may be able to empathize with them, but we'll never truly genuinely know how someone felt because you weren't and you aren't in their shoes. You may be able to sympathize or empathize, but you weren't there and you didn't feel what they were feeling or experience what they were experiencing because you weren't in their body feeling or experiencing it at that very moment at that time. So someone can try to explain, and you'll never truly know how they felt or what that experience was really like for them. And so it's hard. I have went through a lot of pain. I've been through a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff that I've put onto myself from choices and decisions that I've made, and stuff that I didn't put onto myself that wasn't choices and decisions that I made. You know, and sometimes I can find myself reliving these things, you know, and acting in fear. Not from a place of love, not from a place of confidence, not from a place of peace, which is what I aim to do today and I aim to be today. I aim to act from a place of love, act from a place of peace, healing, forgiveness, understanding, respect. And how am I supposed to act that way if I don't know any better? If I don't know what I'm doing? If I don't know what those things are, or if I'm not aware in that very moment of what it is that I'm doing, which is why like personal inventory and inventorying these things, spot check, like on the spot inventorying, like, oh, I'm feeling upset right now. Like, why am I feeling this way? Let's take an honest look at this. Let's take an honest look at this. And then what is it that my inner child needs from me in this moment? Not from anything outside of me, but from within me. And these are things that I'm learning. And it's hard. It's hard. I think one of the hardest things is to recognize the trauma and to work through it and accept these faults and face them. It's hard. Not many people are going to be willing to do that. I've always wondered, why do I act these ways? What's wrong with me? I couldn't figure it out. You know? I guess that's why I love personal development and self-development so much, is like, I just like, I'm hungry for it, you know? Like, I want to be better. I want to know better. And I love it. Like, I love healing and processing and like working through things and just making a difference, making an impact in the world. It makes everything that I've ever experienced and went through worth it. And I love like when those light bulbs go off and it's just like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. I was listening to a video earlier that was talking about vocabulary and how, you know, if we don't have a broad vocabulary, literally all we know is what we know. It's literally about understanding. We only can understand what we understand. We only can know what we know. And so with such a small vocabulary, such a small world, not exploring these things or trying to figure these things out and venturing out, we stay in that small world, that the small ways of thinking, and we're not able to see bigger. We can only see what we see and know what we know, you know? You know? Or you don't know. So, yeah. That's my little thought for the day. So, Give this video a thumbs up. Let me get some hearts, actually. Give this video a heart. Share it out if you feel like it could help someone or benefit someone. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you on my next video.